Hello, and welcome to Math with Mr. Bill. I'm Bill Anderson, and today I'm going to be working through a series of 6 problems to help one of my students get ready for his exam. Please put questions in the comments below, and feel free to post more problems down there as well. On to question number 6. In terms of the unknown functions f and g and their derivatives f prime and g prime, find expressions for the following: x times f of x plus g of x squared and f of g of x over x. So these problems generally tend to show up fairly regularly because it really gives you an opportunity to show what you know about finding the derivatives of more complicated expressions. The thing about these problems, though, is what you want to be able to do is look at it and go, oh, well, that's that right there. Take a look at like this part right here. That's the product rule. And then onto the next term, that's the chain rule. Because I've got a function, g of x on the outside, or g on the outside, and then on the inside I've got x squared. And then for the second one, it's also the chain rule. We've got a function on the outside, and we've got something going on the inside, and not only on the inside, not only do we have a function on the inside, we also have the quotient rule going on. So within our chain rule, we're also going to have a quotient rule. So let's get started with the first one. So we've got x times f of x plus g of x squared. And we're asked to find the derivative with respect to x. We know that both of our functions are functions of x only, so we don't have to worry about any sort of funny business there. So we should be able to find the derivatives rather quickly. So we've got this product here. And like we saw in question 5, if we have a product, right? So if we have g of x times h of x. So we've got here in the beginning, we've got a product. And we want to be able to take the derivative of the product. So remember from last video, or from class, the derivative of a product. So let's say we've got some function m of x times h of x. And we're going to take the derivative of that. I don't want to use f and g here because that's, we're already dealing with f and g. So we take the derivative of the first times the second plus the first times the derivative of the second. And if you need to, you can flip those terms around so that it looks a little more familiar, a little more comfortable. So m of x is going to play the role of x, and h of x will play the role of f of x. That means that m prime will be just 1, because the derivative of x is 1. H prime of x, well, all we know is that it's just going to be f prime of x. We don't know much about anything else about it, but we do know the derivative exists because it tells us so. And so the derivative of x times f of x is equal to m prime, 1, times h of x, which is just f of x, plus m of x, which is x, times h prime of x, which is f prime of x. So we'll simplify that up a little bit, and we get f of x plus x times f prime of x. Okay, so now on to the second part of this, and we're going to find the derivative of g of x squared. And so we're looking at g of x squared, that's going to be, we're going to be using the chain rule here. And the chain rule says, if you've got a function embedded in a function, so we take h of x and put it into m of x, and we take the derivative of that. We take the derivative of the outside first, leaving the inside alone. And then we chain on, we multiply on the derivative of the next inside function. So for us, our outside function is going to be g of x, or just g. So m of x, it gets a little bit wonky with the variables, but this is what we're working with. M of x is equal to g of x, and h of x is equal to x squared. So m prime is going to be equal to g prime, and h prime is going to be equal to 2x. So putting everything in now, I get m prime of h of x. So that's going to be g prime of h of x. So the h of x was just x squared still, times the derivative of h prime. So that's going to be times 2x. Okay, so now putting everything together, our function was, our expression was x times f of x plus g of x squared. We're finding the derivative of all of that. But that's going to be equal to f of x plus x times f prime of x plus g prime of x squared times 2x. So it's not very satisfying. It's not, it's not something you can go, oh yeah, that's just a function. But that's, when we're using the chain rule and the product rule and all of the rules that we have, that is, this is a legitimate solution, and we've done all the steps properly. That's the key to this, is to look at the product rule, look at the chain rule, and even make this table here like this so that you can plug in the values properly. Okay, let's take a look at the next function here. So the last function here is going to be f of g of x over x. So the first thing we've got here is the chain rule. So the chain rule says that we take the derivative of the outside. So we take the derivative of the outside, so f prime, and we leave the inside alone, g of x over x. And then we chain on, we multiply by the derivative of the inside, which I'm just going to write out as the inside primed. So I don't want to have to, figure that out in my head. Okay, so now the second part here has to be derived using the quotient rule. So when you have the quotient rule, we have some m of x over h of x, and we're going to prime that. So the derivative of that is take the derivative of the top times the bottom minus the top times the derivative of the bottom, all over the bottom squared. So taking our parts now, we're going to say that m is equal to g of x and h of x is equal to x. So m prime, well, I don't know much about m prime except that it's just going to be g prime. And then h prime is going to be 1. And so the derivative of g of x over x is going to be equal to g prime of x times x minus g of x times 1 all over the bottom squared. So now putting everything together, we get this. The derivative of f of g of x over x is equal to f prime, leaving the inside alone, times the derivative of the inside, which is going to be x g of x minus, or x g prime of x, minus g of x all over x squared. Again, not a very nice answer, but that is the answer. We've found the derivative in terms of all the parts that we have, which is what's required. There can't be any simplification between the argument of the function and our quotient rule because they don't interact with one another. So that's it. You just leave that as it is. So I hope you found that valuable, and thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.